NASCAR just made a decision that should make every other young driver in the garage nervous. One name, one driver, the only one surviving the cut from last season's breakout hit. And it's the guy half this sport loves to argue about. This isn't a feel-good story. This is NASCAR placing a bet. And the chips are stacked on controversy. Here's what dropped on Tuesday. NASCAR confirms Season 2 of its Docuseries Rising landing this August. The cast, Cup Series names Carson Hocevar and Zilisch, plus Truck Series breakout Brenden Butterbean Queen. It streams first on Xumo Play, then rolls out to NASCAR's YouTube channel. The headline detail: Hocevar is the only driver kept from Season 1. Rajah Caruth and Jesse Love are out, he's still in. Season 1 wasn't a quiet experiment. 5 episodes, more than 11 million views across YouTube and Fox Sports. That's a real audience, not a vanity project buried in NASCAR's content library. So when producers sat down to plan Season 2, they had options. Plenty of young talent is pushing through NASCAR's pipeline right now. They could have rotated the entire cast and leaned into fresh faces. Instead, they ran it back with Hocevar. That's not a small call. That's NASCAR looking at its own data, its own engagement numbers, and deciding the 23-year-old Spire Motorsports driver is worth building around again, even as 2 other featured drivers got dropped entirely. Let's talk about what this actually signals, because it's bigger than a casting decision. NASCAR isn't just trying to develop Hocevar as a driver anymore, it's actively packaging him as a personality-driven product. Those are 2 very different investments. Here's the strategic logic. A docuseries doesn't need a perfect, polished driver. It needs someone who creates moments, tension, reaction, unpredictability. Hocevar has been in headlines all year, not always for clean reasons. Aggressive on-track style, post-race friction, social media arguments that spill into the next news cycle. For a traditional PR department, that's a headache. For a docuseries built on raw access, that's gold. Is this smart or risky? Honestly, both. It's smart because attention is the entire currency of streaming content. NASCAR doesn't need everyone to like Hocevar. It needs everyone to have an opinion. Love him or rip him apart. In the comments, you're still watching, still clicking, still talking about NASCAR. That's a win for the sport, even when it's not a win for Hocevar's image. But it's risky because NASCAR is now publicly tying its next-gen branding to a driver whose reputation is still being written in real time. If Hocevar has a season of costly mistakes or another high-profile blow-up, NASCAR isn't just managing one driver's story, it's managing the face of its own flagship development series. There's also a quieter signal here about Zilisch and Queen. Zilisch is the polished, can't-miss Cup Series prospect. Queen is the grassroots fan favorite, climbing the Truck Series ladder. Hocevar is the wild card placed right in the middle, proof that NASCAR's vision for the future isn't one clean, marketable archetype. It's drama, talent, and chaos, all bundled together on purpose. Expect a split reaction and expect it fast. Hocevar's core fans are going to see this as validation, confirmation that their guy is must-watch television, controversy and all. His critics are going to see it differently. They'll argue NASCAR is rewarding a driver more for being polarizing than for being clean and consistent on the track, and that the sport is choosing engagement over accountability. Media analysts will likely frame this as smart business. Outspoken drivers move ratings. NASCAR knows this better than almost any other league right now. Best case, the cameras catch Hocevar at his most authentic, competitive, sharp, unapologetic, and Rising Season 2 outperforms Season 1's 11 million views. Hocevar's profile grows, NASCAR's content strategy gets validated, and the sport gains a legitimate breakout star heading into the back half of the season. Worst case, the docuseries captures Hocevar in a moment of controversy that overshadows everything else NASCAR is trying to build. Instead of a hype reel for the sport's future, Season 2 becomes the storyline critics use to argue NASCAR is chasing chaos instead of building stars the right way. So here's the real question. Is NASCAR building Carson Hocevar into a legitimate star, or just using him because controversy gets clicks? Drop your take in the comments. Are you watching Rising Season 2 for the racing or for the drama? If you want more breakdowns like this before the season drops in August, make sure you subscribe, because this story is far from over.